So my son and I went to have a look at the new Dianella pump track. They've opened about a week before we got there. We went on a Saturday afternoon and it was a madhouse. You can see here where he's starting off. You start off on a wooden ramp. You go around the outside edge of the track. You go from the green to the blue. Here's a good example of a little bit of traffic. Now, it looks empty here, but just wait, it gets crazy. So you can see here, kids stop right in the middle of the track. But here you go, so you've got the blue track there, loops around, pump, 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 and it heads back up. If you go up the top, you get back up to the starting ramp. Now, by some miracle, he actually got a clear run where he could do 2 laps. That was the only time. So you can see here, again, around the green, stick around the edge, go onto the blue, zip around. You can head up to the top if you want to take a shortcut or a rest. And up to the top and up to the start ramp. Here we go, there's a view from the starting ramp down into the green area. And I'm just going to pause it here, so if you can see here, the green track, if you stick right, you'll stay on the green section for the kids, little kids. Nobody was doing that, I swear. I didn't see any little kids. There were little kids out on the big track with the bigger kids and it was pretty crazy. So again, around the outside edge, turns into the blue track, up and around, lots of great grip being bitumen, up and over. Now you can go up. Like I said, if you stick to the top, you'll get back up to the start ramp. If you stick low, it actually puts you back into the blue pump section, and I'll show you a bit of a interesting thing about that. So we've repeated here. You end up the original line, and if you do the repeat, you end up with 2 lines of kids coming out at the same time, and momentum sort of wants them to hit into each other. Whoops. So here's some kid who had a little tumble. I lost count of the kids who were tumbling and losing skin, but everyone was having fun, but there were lots of crashes. So you can see this is more representative of what it was like. It was a madhouse. It was so busy. Just panning around here though. So you can see here, the blue line is where that main pump track comes around, and the red line is where they end up crossing over. Here's a good example of a traffic jam. 1 kid stalls, and you get like 20 kids behind them stuck. And then they start going slowly, and they sort of figure it all out. And then there's some dude pushing his kid straight through the middle of everyone. There's kids on scooters. There's like expert BMXers and scooter kids doing jumps, and toddlers who can barely scoot in a straight line. It's a real mix. Here's the start ramp. Here's a bit of the queue for the start ramp. Now, I did not get much footage of the actual mountain bike track. There's a crushed limestone loop that goes all the way around that pump track. Green, blue and red drops up the top. Here's some local kids who didn't mind being filmed. You can see the red drop there gives you a bit of a kick, and there's quite a gap there, so you wouldn't want to hit that slowly. Down there, if you've got the speed, you can hit some jumps. But if you don't want to do the drops, you can go left of them and just roll down here. Straight into the berm. Lots of kids were ripping that up with emergency braking, so it's going to end up in braking bumps. Here's my son rolling down at a gentle pace. And that's that. So the new track is really, really popular. It's only been open a week, but it's also really compact. And there's a lot of kids and adults and teenagers and everyone all in one space, and it is very, very busy so far. So it's great fun. We ended up leaving when my son lost some skin. Some kid stopped right in front of him on a berm, and he had to put the brakes on to stop hitting them, and he slid down the face of the berm and was feeling a bit sorry for himself, so had to patch him up, and then we headed home. But it's a great track, but I hope in future they put in a little play area for the really little kids to keep them off this track, because there were parents pushing their like, practically toddlers on 3-wheeled scooters down that big start ramp at the start, and the kid just ate shit. It just went straight down. The kid can barely cope on a flat scoot, let alone being pushed down a start ramp that's actually quite steep. So, you know, great track, but expect some biffo, take some band-aids.